So today let us start the chapter parts of a plant. What are the parts of a plant? See, the plant consists of two systems, the shoot system and the root system. The shoot means the upper portion and the root means the lower portion that remains below the ground, right? So shoot portion or shoot system of a plant consists of what? It consists of flowers, you can see it contains the stem. This is the stem. This is the stem. The shoot consists of the stem, and the roots consist of the roots. So this is the stem. It contains flower. It contains leaves. It contains fruit. All this, and this is the node. This is the node. One node from where the leaf is arising. See, this is another node. This is another node, and in between the two nodes, this portion is called the internode. Okay, so what is the function? Flower helps in reproduction. Leaf performs photosynthesis. Fruit protects the seeds. Okay, Stem stem supports the plant and root absorb water and minerals from the soil and produce that to the plant to make its food through the process photosynthesis. Clear? Now parts of a leaf. What are the parts of a leaf? Leaf is the main site of photosynthesis where the food is made for the plant. Now what are the parts of a leaf? See, this is the stem from where the leaf is arising. This portion is called axil. Then this is the midrib of the leaf. Okay, and okay, this is the axil and this portion before the leaf starts and the adjoint portion through which the leaf is adjoined or joined to the stem. This is called petiole. Then see, this is leaf. This is the midrib. This is the margin of the leaf margin. These are the leaf veins, and among the veins there are venules also, leaf blade. Okay, and the leaf can be divided into three portions. This is the tip, this is the base, and middle portion is called middle. So tip, middle, and base. So this is the parts of the leaf. Now we will see the internal part of the leaf. If leaf is cross section or TS of the leaf, the transverse section of the leaf shows the inner parts of the leaf. What is the inner parts of the leaf? See, this is the upper epidermis. This is the lower epidermis or adaxial and abaxial, you can see. The layer which covers the epidermis is called the cuticle. This layer is cuticle. Here also it is there. This layer is cuticle. Next, the inner portion, the inside part is the mesophyllous portion. See, these elongated cells are the palisade mesophyll and these are the spongy mesophyll. Clear? Now, these mesophyll cells are parenchymatous in nature. So, it can also be termed as palisade parenchymatous cell and spongy parenchymatous cells. This palisade layer is a compact layer, but spongy is a loose layer. It is not compact. See, the air cavities are present in between the cells. Clear? Now this is the vascular bundle. Vascular bundle. This is the vascular sheath with it is the sheath and protects the inner parts of the vascular bundle. The bundle consists of xylem and phloem. Clear? Now the lower epidermis is always interrupted by the presence of stomata. Stomata are always present in the lower part of the leaf. Why? Because if it is an opening, right? So if it is present more in number in the upper surface, then transpiration will occur. Means the evaporation of water will occur and the leaf will wither or get dry. So it is always the plenty of stomata are present in the abaxial surface of the leaf, and the stomata are the opening through which the exchange of gases takes place. And these are the guard cells which guard the stomata, and the cavity above the stomata is called substomatal cavity. So the internal part of the leaf is clear. Now moving to the types of leaf. Leaves are mainly of two types, simple and compound. See, simple leaf is undivided leaf, a single undivided leaf. But compound leaf is divided into multiple leaflets attached at the stem. Means along the main stem there are multiple leaflets are attached. It is not a single leaf. So it is divided. The leaf is divided. Clear? Now this compound leaf are of two types. Pinnately compound leaf and palmately compound leaf. Clear? What is pinnately compound leaf? See, feather-like arrangement of leaflets from the midvein. This is the midvein. From the midvein there are many leaflets arising like this. But palmately compound leaf, in palmately compound leaf, the leaflets radiating from the single point. This is again the midrib. From this single point, see this is one point, and from this single point the leaflets are emerging or radiating. Means they are from radiating from the single point. But here no, it is a feather-like structure. Clear? Now leaf margin. We have studied that this is the leaf margin. So leaf margin can be of many types. It can be entire. See, no interruptions. Full smooth margin, entire. It is called entire. It can be serrated as we see in our hibiscus plant, China rose plant. See, this is the serrated margin. This is undulating margin. See this leaf? This kind of leaf, undulating margin. And this is lobed. This is more undulated and it has become a lobed like structure. So these are the few types of leaf margins. Clear? Now moving to the next part, that is part of a flower. Flower consists of what? See, this is a stem. From there the flower is arising. Flower consists of sepals. First sepal, then petal. It contains petal. It contains carpel and stamen. That is the four holes of the flower. What are the four holes of the flower? Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Right? We know that. What is calyx? The calyx is this one is calyx, and the unit of calyx is called sepal. Clear? Then corolla. This is corolla, and the unit of corolla is called petal. Then androecium. The androecium is the male reproductive organ, and the unit of androecium is called stamen, and it consists of gynoecium, that is the female reproductive organ, and the unit of gynoecium is called carpel. So clear? This is the reproductive parts. The stamen consists of anther and filament. Carpel or this one is consists of style. This is style, stigma, pollen grains are pollen tubes are present here. Stigma actually contains the pollen grains. And this is ovary, this is ovule. Clear? Sepal, protection. What is the function of the sepal? Protection of flower buds. All these buds are protected by the calyx or sepal. This is the receptacle, generation of flower organs. Clear? Now moving to the male reproductive organ or stamen. What is stamen? The male reproductive organ. See the stamen? It consists of two things. What are those? Anther. This is anther and this is filament, a long filament. So stamen consists of filament and anther. And inside the anther, the pollen sacs are present, and inside those pollen sacs, pollen grains are present. Clear? Pollen grains are present in the anther. Here, pollen grains are present here. Now this male reproductive organ or the stamen can be of four types. This is adnate, this is basifixed, this is dorsifixed, and versatile. Now what are they? Adnate means, now these are the four types showing the attachment of the anther with its filament. So adnate, what is adnate? The filament or the connective. See, this is the filament, this is the filament, and this is the connective. The two lobes of the anther is actually connected with a connective. This is also a connective here. This is a connective here. This is a connective here. So this, see, this is the connective of the two lobes. Clear? So the filament or the connective remains attached to the back of the anther. Here it is attached at the back of the anther. And in case of basifix, this type of filaments, the adnate type of filaments are seen in Magnolia, Nymphea in these plants, okay, etc. The examples I am giving: Nymphea, Magnolia. See, this is basifixed. I will give two examples. Basifixed. Basifixed is what the apex of the filament becomes firmly attached to the base of the anther. See the apex of the filament, this is the apex of the filament. It is attached to the base of the anther base. So this is seen, example can be Solanum, brassica. Clear? Now dorsifix. Dorsifix, the apex of the filament is firmly attached to the back of the anther. See, back of the anther. This type of filament can be seen in Sesbania, Passiflora, etc. And versatile, see, this is versatile, moving like a fan. Here, the apex of the filament is attached at a point near the middle of the back of the connective. This is the exact middle of the connective. So it is a little below. Okay. So it is attached to a point near the middle of the connective, but not exactly at the middle. Okay. So this type of stamens are seen in rice plant, Oryza sativa. Okay. Now these are the two types of arrangement of the stamens: didynamous, tetradynamous. What is this? You know that the four holes are calyx, corolla, endoecium and gynoecium. So it remains in a centric or in a circle manner. The circular arrangement. They remains in a circular arrangement. So what happens? Didynamous, in case of didynamous, the four stamens in one hole is present in one hole. The four stamens are present in one hole, out of which the outer two are shorter and the inner two are longer in size. Clear? Now here there are six stamens and they are in two holes, in which two of the outer hole is shorter, while the four stamens of the inner hole are longer in size. Clear? Now moving to female reproductive organ or carpel. See, this carpel consists of stigma. This is a long style. This is ovary and this is thalamus. Again moving here. This is thalamus. Now on the thalamus, the ovary is situated. Now it can be of many types. Hypogynous, epigynous and perigynous. Now what happens in case of hypogynous flower? In case of hypogynous flower, the ovary occupies the highest position on the thalamus. This is the thalamus and on top of this the ovary is located. So in case of hypogynous flower, the ovary occupies the highest position on the thalamus. And the other holes, that is the stamens, this is the stamens, petals, sepals, all are separately and successively arranged below the ovary. They are arranged below the ovary. This kind of flower is called hypogynous flower. What is perigynous flower? In perigynous flower, the ovary is in the middle. Means here the thalamus becomes flat or the cup shaped structure. You can see this is a cup shaped structure. Here the thalamus becomes flat to form a cup shaped concave structure where ovary remains in the center, and ovary remains in the center, not at the top. See here at the top, but here at the center. Okay, and the four holes are arranged or are attached on the rim of the flat thalamus, and they are attached on the rim of the flat thalamus. In case of epigynous flower, the ovary is below. So here what happens? Here the margin of the thalamus completely, see the margin of the thalamus completely encloses the ovary. The ovary is fully within. See, the ovary is fully within. So here the thalamus completely encloses the ovary and getting fused with it. And they both are getting fused. See, and the holes of the flower, that is androecium, gynoecium, calyx and corolla, are all remains above the ovary. Here they are below the ovary, here they are above the ovary, and here four holes are arranged at the rim, on the rim of the ovary. Okay, so these are the things. And this stigma can be of different types in different plants. It can be capitate, it can be plumose, feather like, see, it can be bifid, it can be trifid, see, three, here two, fit. It can be discoid, this is full round, this is a little oval in shape. It can be dumbbell shaped, it can be funnel shaped, it can be striated. Clear? In various plants, various type of stigma can be found. Now moving to the next portion, that is estivation and placentation in the flower. You know, when the ovary, see, this is the placentation. This is the placentation. In the ovary actually it happens. So what is placentation? The ovules are attached on the inner surface, they're attached in the inner surface of the ovarian wall. See, these are the ovules which are attached on the inner surface of the ovarian wall on one or more cushion-like placenta. See, again here, where is the, yes, see, these are the cushion. So in the cushion, these ovaries are attached with the ovary wall. Okay, and this is called placenta. The distribution of placenta on the ovary wall and the arrangement of ovules are called placentation. So the ovary wall, distribution of the ovary wall and the arrangement of ovules. See, and the arrangement of ovules are called placentation. Clear? So types of placentation, it can be marginal, it can be axial. These are the left hand side is showing the TS of the ovule. Okay. Parietal, it can be free central, it can be basal, basal, basal are two given here. See, this is basal, attached at the base. This is apical, attached at the top. So this is the types of placentation. Now here the types of estivation. What is estivation? The pattern of the arrangement of sepals, petals, tepals with respect to one another in the budding stage is called estivation. See all sepal, petals and tepals. Sepal, these are sepal, petal, the arrangement of sepal, petal or tepal. Tepal is the unit of perianth. Perianth means when they are remaining attached. When the petals and the sepals are remain attached, they are called perianth, and unit of perianth is called the tepal. So the pattern of arrangement of these things with respect to one another in the budding stage is called estivation. It can be valvate, see, this is the arrangement. Twisted, one overlapping the other. Imbricate, see, in imbricate, one is fully out, another is fully in, and other three are like twisted, overlapping each other. This is fully out, this is fully in. Quincuntial, in quincuntial also, see, one, two, one, two. These two are completely out. These two are completely in and one is twisted. Means half in, half out. And this is vexillary. Here it is totally other type of arrangement in vexillary type of flowers. Clear? The types of estivation is clear. Now moving to fruits. What are fruits? You have seen, you have eaten the fruit. So what are its parts? Now fruits can be of three types: true fruit, false fruit, and parthenocarpic fruit. See, the ovary develops into fruit without any non-carpellary part. Here the ovary develops into fruit without any non-carpellary part. Clear? In case of mango, tomato, they are the true fruit. Even grapes, they are the true fruits. False fruit, in addition to the ovary, the non the non-carpellary parts, that is the floral part like thalamus or perianth. These are the non-carpellary parts. They, what do? And the involuntary perianth, involucre and perianth in case of walnut. So all these parts, the non-carpellary parts, develop into fruit. Here ovary develops into fruit without any carpellary part. Here in addition to ovary, the non-carpellary parts also develop into fruit. Clear? In case of parthenocarpic fruit, what happens? The development of fruits without fertilization. Here the development takes place without any fertilization. They are seedless fruits, as you have seen in banana. They are completely seedless fruits and are produced without fertilization. So what are the parts of the seed? See, pericarp, and this is the seed. This is pericarp consists of exocarp, the outer one, mesocarp, the inner one, and endocarp, the most innermost one. This is the middle one, and this is the most innermost one, and it is the seed. Seed is the endocarp. Epicarp, upper, and the fleshy layer is mesocarp, which of all the three consist of the pericarp. Clear? Now, two types of fruit here it is seen. Grape, true fruit, what I said, develops without any non-carpellary part. The ovary develops into fruit. And in case of apple, the thalamus develops into fruit. So it is a false fruit. Clear? In case of jackfruit, perianth. And in case of English walnut, the involucre and perianth together along with ovary, they also develop into fruits. Now parts of roots. What are the parts of roots? See, this is the root consists of the root hairs. Okay. Then next the region of maturation, and this is the region of elongation. See, from the region of maturation, the root hairs develop. Below that, it consists of root of elongation. And below that also, this is the region of cell division, which is also known as region of root cap. Okay, no, this is the region of root cap and this is the region of division. See, this is the root cap. This is the root of division. Then comes here the elongation of the root, the region of elongation, and then mature. And then the maturation occur. And in the region of maturation, the root hair grows. Clear? See, root can be of, see, this is the primary root, the main root system which goes deep down into the soil to anchor the water for the plants. So this is the main root or the primary root. From there the secondary roots develops. And from the secondary roots, the further roots called tertiary roots develop. So clear parts of the root. Types of the root. See, primary root. This is the primary root. From there, the secondary and the tertiary develops. Fibrous roots is just like a fiber. Adventitious roots, see, the shape, you can see it's totally different from each other. Primary root, fibrous root, this is adventitious root, this is aerial root, and this is prop root. This root we found in Sundarban, the Sundari plants, the mangrove plants, prop roots. Now some modifications. You know what are the functions of leaf, stem and root, right? But there are some modifications in leaf, stem and roots. First we will do the modification of roots. So roots can perform activities other than anchorage and absorption of water. The main function or the main purpose or the main activity of the root is to anchor the anchor what and absorb the water. Anchorage means as roots goes deep down into the soil, when soil erosion occurs, it protects the tree firmly as it goes very deep into the soil. Fine. And it prevents soil erosion. So anchorage and absorption of water is the main function of the roots, and some modified roots can perform many other functions also, like storage of food, support and respiration. See, root from branches of banyan tree. You have seen the hanging roots? They help in propagation. Propagation means movement, right? Locomotion, propagation. Root of Bryophyllum helps in respiration above the soil. Roots of Sundari tree helps the plant to remain straight. Roots of Rasna helps to store the food. Roots of the branches roots from the branches of Gajapaipul helps to climb on other plant. Roots from the lower part of the Kea absorb water vapor from air. And Rajesh, they again store food. Clear? Now some modifications of shoots. In some plants, stems are modified to fulfill their needs. These modified shoots helps in storing food and water for future use. In spine of bale, modified aerial stem into spines. Modified, this is the aerial stem into spines. You have seen in the desert areas, those plants remain, their leaves have also undergone modification and have converted into spines only. What is their function there? To store food and water? No. The flappy part of the stem that have undergone the conversion in case of the arid plants, those modified stems actually preserve the food and water, but leaves have also converted into spines in case of those arid plants, the cactus plants. So there what happens? The leaves helps in the reduction of transpiration there. Okay, so the shoots, roots and leaves that have gone modified plays a different kind of role in different plants. So this is the modified aerial stem which have undergone the modified spine. Then water hyacinth modified subaerial stem into offset. Potato, you know, they are the modified underground stem into tuber. They store food. Pumpkin, modified aerial stem into tendril. They help in propagation and climbing. So these are the modifications of shoots. Now modifications of leaves. What are the modifications of leaves? The main function of leaf is to synthesize food, right? Help in respiration and gaseous exchange. We have learned what the main function of leaves. synthesize food, helps in respiration and gaseous exchange. Some modified leaves also perform other activities. But the leaves which have been modified helps in some other activities. See, tendril of pea helps in propagation. Spine of Opuntia, storage of food. It also prevents loss of transpiration rate. Leaf of aloe vera absorbs nitrogen from insect's body. See, leaf of bryophyllum helps to climb, and leaf of pitcher plants prevents excess transpiration. So, these are the modifications which the plants have undergone to fulfill their needs or requirements. So, this much for today. Thank you.